Hey there. This is Dr. Pam Perry, and we are in for a treat today. AI is the rave, the takeover. People are talking about it. Is it going to take my job away? Is it going to help my job? Can I run a business on AI? Am I really real or am I AI? I'm really real. So there's a whole lot of things about it, but there's a lady by the name of Jennifer Ponder who I'm going to bring up right after this to talk about AI because she's an AI consultant. So I'm going to bring her up and read a little bit about her and then bring her up. All right. So Jennifer Ponder, she is breaking barriers and building a future um, really with the tech blazer we've been waiting for. So Jennifer is really one of those people that has always been really into technology way before we were talking about this AI stuff. She's a founder and CEO of Nexora Strategy Consulting. She brings over 15 years of cutting edge expertise as a software engineer, AI consultant, cloud infrastructure leader, and she led teams that have helped organizations from startups to mid-sized companies implement AI, cloud, emerging technologies, and that. But one of the things I want you to know that she has accolades is she's a 2024 Guinness World Record holder, Max Media's Tech Community Innovation Leader, and one of the top 200 women in tech to follow on Twitter. And she stands as a standout in a space between where few women, especially Black women, are handed the mic. Not only does Jennifer doesn't wait for permission, but she built her own platform and has invited others to join her, whether she's speaking on the stage at Google Developer Group events or the BFUTR Global Tech Conference, the Women Tech. You see, she's into tech, women tech makers, and all of that. And she's also has involvement with NASA as well. So Jennifer Ponder speaks. We're going to bring her up right now, so you don't have to. She's in this month's Speaker Two magazine, by the way. So if you want to read more about her, she is definitely there. But I'm gonna bring her up to the stage. There she is. Hey, Jennifer, welcome, welcome.
Hi, Dr. Perry. It's so great to be here with you and your community this evening. Thank you certainly for that introduction.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So you are in the June issue of Speakers Magazine, but we met a little bit before that because you were on a digital cover of Speakers Magazine and then you were in the magazine. But before all of that, we met at an event that was in Durham. And I want to before we kind of do we got to actually see each other, hug each other. It's like, hey, how you doing? And I heard you speak and do that platform because your speaking reel is going to be fire. So tell us about that experience that you had there and all the things that you're getting ready for next.
Yes, definitely. Well, Amplify 2025, I can just tell you it was electric, engaging. I was so glad to be there. One of the top things for me is just helping folks to demystify AI and how they can use it in their lives every day. Because as we know, as you mentioned, Dr. Perry, everything is everywhere about the fear and trepidation behind is AI going to replace me? The
Right.
fears about privacy concerns, but
Yeah.
also there's a way that we can create clarity with this because, as we know, the saying goes around the industry, you may not be replaced, but somebody who is utilizing AI effectively may replace you. So one
Right.
of my favorite things to do here is trying to help everyone that I can. I said if I can reach just one person, but typically my target audience has been small businesses, small to mid-sized businesses, even nonprofits. And so it was just a joy to be on that stage to speak to folks, even just people at home who could be stay-at-home parents. It is summertime. Folks are at home with their kids. They're trying to figure out, hey, what can I just plan for dinner tonight or our next summer trip? How can we utilize AI in our everyday life without getting into the hang up? So that was such a fun thing to do. And so what I'm just coming off of coming from Times Square, where
Okay.
I was featured on the NASDAQ billboard. So that was an amazing just thing to do. And so this summer I'll be doing some more virtual events speaking about AI and how people can use that in their business and everyday life, and also some workshops and just, trying to do more speaking around. So I definitely have some more things planned and definitely happy to share
I
it with you.
Listen, I heard you speak and you dropped so many gems in that little 15, 20 minutes that we had. And I don't say it was like drinking out of a water hose, but you definitely know your stuff and you were trying to share as much as you could in that 20 minutes. And so where did all this start? Was it always you were always what I call a STEM girl because you're part of that as well. You show up and you in those kind of circles. So were you always a tech girl, a call them geeks, I guess you would say, but not in a bad way, like a geek, the person that liked that? Or how did it go about where you're speaking with NASA and Google and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it definitely. I was definitely that STEM tech nerd girl. I'll tell you, from the tender age of 10 years old, getting my first desktop computer. I was the kid that I took the computer apart and put it back together.
Wow.
I always said, and this is something that really why I enjoy giving back to girls, young girls, middle school and high school students who I work with. When I was growing up, you had the nurses, doctors, firefighters, everybody to come on career day, but I didn't see that software engineer to come to our class. And I said, if I can give back, you can be what you can see once you can visualize it. But I just always knew from that 9, 10-year-old age, I wanted to be in tech. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I said, I loved computers. I loved everything. And it's like still to this day, my eyes light up about it. And so once I got to high school, I was in the technical vocation program for business technology. And so I took that on in college. I started out actually in communications and broadcasting because I love
that.
Yeah, I love the communication part because a lot of people think that just tech folks code in the basement or code in their room with no personality. And so I was always able to take my communications background and break down all the technical jargon and make it easily digestible for folks. And so I knew just moving on, working in communications, working my way up through being a PR assistant, also, and, just doing digital marketing and social media. And then I said, you know what, let me start doing websites for friends. And so I said, I want to take this thing all the way to the top. And so I went to Georgia Tech, took a formal software engineering program. And I said, hey, I'm going to get back into my first love. And so once I started to learn how to do web applications, I said, you know what? I love teaching and I love speaking. And so I'm going to do what I know how to do best is communicate those things that I learned to people who I care about, whether it's my family, my friends, just getting all kinds of things about how people can stay safe online, tips with their website, and now even helping them with AI. So it's just been something that has always been near and dear to my heart. And like I said, now I do a wealth of giving back. I'm also a national program director still at STEM Atlanta, helping middle school and high school girls who are interested in STEM and technology. And I also have co-partnered with one of my graduate friends from my high school, where we do a STEM scholarship for technology and science, technology, engineering, and math for girls who are interested in that field. Because it's so few and far between. And as a woman who came up through the ranks where I was the only woman in the IT department, or the only woman that was an African-American woman who didn't see many people who look like me, that's the thing where we want to see more women in this space. And so that's still something that I hold close to my heart, helping women to break barriers and just really be excited about being in the technology industry.
And so technology for you. So your first computer, I don't think the internet was even around, right?
It's not.
Okay, so give me all the iterations because you won a Guinness. I want to get it right. The Guinness World Record holder. So let's tell us what the Guinness World Record holder, what that was about, and then I want you to tell me about the reiteration of technology that you have seen just in the period of time that you've been in it.
Sure, yeah. So with that, pretty much during that period of time, I have been in this group, Women in Cloud group. And so what we were doing, I had a particular cloud assignment to do where I had to code a specific script in an amount of time with it was a little more than 500 developers. And so I had to get to the end of that within a certain amount of time. I think it was 5 to 7 minutes. Could have been a little less than that. And I actually beat that time. So I was excited about that because, getting down into the weeds of debugging and doing certain scripts. And so I know I'm a part of several different women in technology and women in cloud groups. And so this specific group, I have really just given my time and my all to being a part of Because like I said, again, I love so many different facets of technology and where it's
Mhm.
came from. And just to segue over there into, like you said, what I've seen since being a kid. Now, hey, if you all are out there and you all remember the AOL and the dial up and your
Yes,
mom telling
that
you,
little sound.
and you're trying to tell your mom, hey, can you get off the phone so I can use the internet? And that whole thing, just starting out with that, and the .com Y2K. I mean, before the internet was a thing and social media of a thing, I have a funny running joke that I tell people, hey, I come from the era of encyclopedias. We had to do the research. So I came from the time of the AOL, before the actual broadband internet and 5G service that we have today.
And then also too, being a coder, being a person that programs, and then seeing something, I don't know, before we had to have graphic designers that will do things for us, and now there's so many apps for everything. So now we're in the phase of past dial up. Now we're into the internet. We're on the super highway. Everything is Google, like Yahoo used to be there, but now we're looking at apps for everything. App can do this, an app can do that. Are you really helping people with apps as well? Because that's part of coding, I guess, in a way. But also, too, people were HTMLing all of the websites,
Mhm.
so now they can just pull up a Wix or a WordPress is a little bit more complicated, but you have seen all of that. So tell us, like, where you have saw, or as a futurist, where you saw it, and then where you kind of said, you know what, this is the next phase as a futurist of seeing where all this technology is going, because it's still in the teenage years, really, when you think about it. It's not been around that long.
Right. And right now, just coming from that HTML, JavaScript, CSS, that's
Yes.
where I kind of started. And, with
Woo.
the WordPress and, just doing all that behind the scenes. And now, Dr. Pam, just seeing how now you can go into Durable, Bolt, or Lovable and create a website in about 2 minutes, even Canva AI. I mean, just there is just so much fascinating things that are around now. I mean, I'll tell you, I used to debug websites 24 hours almost. I've seen the brunt of it, where I'm all night working on a website, and you mean to tell me now things have moved ahead where I can see a website being coded by Canva AI and have it in under 2 minutes. I mean, it's
Mm.
fascinating. I can just think of the times of me staying up late all night long working on these websites, even just going through WordPress, but just coming through Wix, Squarespace. A lot of the
Yes.
plug and play websites we've come
Mhm.
from. With the Web3 space, there's been so much to happen in the transition of the internet, how websites are being responsive now, and
Right.
also, you definitely have to make websites and different apps accessible for different communities as well. That's one of the things that has just always been important, because we have to know we have people who need to be able to have screen readers, for instance, if we have hearing impaired or people visually impaired.
Yes.
That's really something we want to think about. And also all of the colors that go into certain websites, there are certain people who cannot view those things. So we want to always make sure that we're making
Mm.
things accessible for all. So accessibility really matters. And as things continue to go into the next phase of this AI revolution, we want to make sure that we're still continuously doing that. But one of the things, I mean, I can tell you, just HTML, CSS, JavaScript, where it might have took you days to kind of debug something, to go
Ooh,
into
yes.
WordPress and Wix and all of the Squarespace, where you can have a website maybe in 2 to 3 days or a week, to now you're able to code a website in like 2 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes. You might go back and do some reiteration maybe
Right,
for a
right.
day or two, but I mean, no longer of the days. If you have a person who's starting a business in a day, and they are saying, hey, I need a website, you can get on the phone, call one of your tech friends, or you can call myself. Hey, we'll get you a website in about 2 minutes. I mean, if you're a person that's saying, hey, I'm not techie, I don't know anything about this. And what if you're a lean startup out there and you may not have the investment right now to have a full and active IT team, and you
Right.
need something to get you online, get you noticed today. You can definitely, there are some great products out there. Like I said, Durables around, Lovables around, Boat is out there, Canva AI, get you a website in minutes. I mean, There is
Mhm.
nothing like what's going on right now. And as we
It
continue to
is.
see AI just change the face of the internet, it is just fascinating to see.
And I find that some people are afraid of it. So you're AI consultant, and do you find there is pushback maybe from companies or corporations or small businesses that are feeling like, I don't really want to use AI? I had one person tell me that's cheating. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, you can read all the encyclopedias or you can go to Google. Is that cheating also? So she was like, I never thought of it that way. I said, yeah, it's just the way things are going to be right now. So why would you take the long route? You have to understand it in order to know whether it's correct anyway. But why would you take the long route when you can actually have a technology or an app that will do something for you quicker? So what has been your I guess you would say, when people call you up and they say, Jennifer, we need you to speak, or Jennifer, we need you to do a workshop or consult with us. What is the main thing I guess you have to have people get over in their mind?
Really just the fear, demystifying what AI really is for them. Because one of the things that we'll notice, and I'll just use this quick example, if you have a report that may have taken you a week or two, and now you implement an AI tool in your business that'll get you this same report in about 3 hours or maybe a day. I mean, think about how much time you get back, how much productivity you get back,
Yes.
and even how much more revenue you're able to offer to your business. And so that's why I like to put it that way, because I know there's so much out here. And I like to put it in terms of creating clarity for people, because there's so much noise on the internet about, oh my God, we know there are the phishing scams, we know there are the AI
Mhm.
deep fakes, you know, and there's ways. And I also talk to my audiences about security and protecting yourselves and safe words around you. Say, for instance, if you have someone trying to call you and you don't recognize them, always tell your family, create a safe word, because there's so many people out here that are using certain, you know, bad actors who can use these phone systems and they can act as one of your family members. So you always want to create safe words with your family, because someone can call and say, hey, can I speak to Dr. Pam? And you might say, okay, well, where are you? They could say they're your niece, your cousin, or anybody. And if they continue to talk long enough and you notice it's a recording, you're going to be like, well, where are you? Or use a sentence that incorporates that safe
Mm.
word, so you know, so you're not giving up your information. Because we
Wow.
have a lot of people who are, you know, of course, and I always like to say this, seniors are near and dear to my heart, because also I'm a caregiver for my elderly grandmother. And
Mhm.
so, you know, one of the
They
things I
get
love to
scammed a
do,
lot. Yeah,
yeah.
they
And so
do.
I love to really make sure that people are always staying safe, whether you're young or you're in the senior crowd or in between, because we have so much going on with bad actors online. And
Mhm.
so this is just something that we need to be really owning in on. So I just really try to make this really simple for businesses to think about, how much of your time are you already losing? How much of your time do you want to get back? How much productivity that you can build and your revenue? Because there's a lot out here. And usually, you know, sometimes you just have to really let them know, if you're not implementing AI into at least one business function right now, you may not be sustainable or be able to be around in the next 5 years if you are not utilizing AI.
Yeah.
No longer are you going to be able to do all the manual processes and see as much success as you've seen in the past. It's just now we are in a whole new technology landscape. And usually about every 3 months, the AI models change. And we know
Mm.
about every 5 to 10 years, there's different shifts. And now they're coming even faster. Every 2 to 3 years,
Right.
technology shifts. And one of the things, as a technologist, sometimes even for us, even coding languages we learned 6 months ago, they're obsolete in the next 3 months. And so you want to make sure you're always keeping your ear to everything that is really just credible, because we know there's so much out there on the internet that is not credible. And so I usually let folks know, you know, if you're on LinkedIn, this is a great resource. TechCrunch, this is really good. Also,
Mhm.
you want to make sure that, you know, I know there's a lot of people who get all of these newsletters to their emails. You want to be careful about those, because a lot of times those can have phishing, scam,
Yeah.
sales in them and different ads. But you want to make sure it's credible, you know,
Mhm.
that you're learning from, and even Perplexity is a great resource, a research resource where you can get really sound advice
Yes.
and really good documents on what's happening out here. So I really encourage businesses really to incorporate those types of things when they're looking at the news and certain things, so they don't get bogged down into all the noise that's out here.
hmm We're going to come back because I'm going to ask you, what are your favorite top two tools that you use every single day and what you see on the horizon coming up? So we're going to ask you about that when we come back right after this. Okay, Jennifer?
All right.
Are you an author or a speaker or a subject matter expert wanting more exposure for your brand? Well, here's the secret. Get the media talking about you. Want to know how to get quick media coverage? Get media coverage so you can amplify your reach. Want to know how to get 500 plus media placements and 400 million audience reach? Dr. Pam Perry is offering guaranteed PR coverage with her quick media coverage PR packages. Dr. Pam Perry is a master publicity strategist that shows speakers and experts how to get seen, get heard, and get noticed so they can get paid. If you want immediate guaranteed publicity, go to quickmediacoverage.com. That's quickmediacoverage.com now.
All right. All right. So, Jennifer, these things are happening so fast. So, tell me what the top two that you use every day that you think is really like the main things that people should use. And then what is the one that's up and coming that you see that maybe is going to be a game changer in the future? I want to say, if I can give you a hint, it might have something to do with books and audiobooks, but I won't be that. But kind of tell us a little bit what you see.
Well, what I'm saying, of course, we all know, and this is one of my favorite when I'm using it every day, ChatGPT, of course, because, we can create our assistants in there, our GPT agents, and also we can set tasks. And also for those of you all who are beyond pro users, now this is still in the testing phase, but Operator is coming out here. And what Operator does, it's an agent that it can book online tickets for you. It can shop for you, get your groceries. Now, here's the thing. You do set the security parameter. So it's not going to allow you to purchase anything or someone to steal your card information. You do have to give it permissions, of course. I want to make sure I lay that out. It's not stealing your information behind the scenes, but it's just letting you know how far things are going. But ChatGPT, of course, because you're able to get in there and you can train it on the way you speak and you write so that it's not sounding robotic, of course, because, you can write your content out for your websites, for your social media plans, also just a day-to-day planner for if you need dinner for the week or lunch for the week, take a picture of what's in your freezer and just, really, it's just a game changer on all levels. I use ChatGPT for everything.
I do too.
Yeah, and I will say my next one for everybody now, if you're not using this to make your life easier, and there's several platforms out there, but I love HeyGen because we're able to create our avatars. Say, for instance, if you got to be in, and I'm just making this up right now, you got to be in Argentina giving a workshop, right? And you got to be in New York at the same time speaking, or either you're going on a trip. You can send your you can have your avatar.
Is it
HeyGen? HayGen.
Okay. That's one. That is one.
Yeah.
That one does a lot. It does a lot. And I like 11 Labs as well.
Yes, definitely.
11 Labs for people who want to do audiobooks and things like that. Now you do what it said, you have to train it. So the GPT in chat stands for what?
So with the GPT, we have the generated, what was the
personal trainer?
It's something, and it's a longer T word that escapes me right now. But you have the perplexity part, but it's like the transformer part on the end.
Okay, all right. So people need to really get involved in this, and it's not like as simple as like I'm just going to go and try and do this on my own, when there's so much more that you could be doing with it. Like one of the things you said, taking a picture of it in your refrigerator. I mean, there's certain things that someone like Jennifer, who's a technologist, can help you with. So as an AI consultant or coming in to speak to different groups, especially if it is a organization that's that's very stuck in this culture, and you need someone to kind of push it to say, okay, we're going to use these tools. They won't hurt us. We're not replacing you with these tools. We're
Mhm.
trying to just scale the productivity of our organization. So they can go to jenniferponderspeaks.com. And what else will they find when they go there to Jennifer? What other things?
Yeah, definitely. So you'll find podcasts that I've been on, training and workshops that I'm doing,
Ah,
and typically
good.
how to book me for speaking. And also, if you want to book me for your small to mid-sized business, I have my starting rates on there, because with consulting, one size just doesn't fit all. So I may have a company that they may want to implement AI just for a report, or they want to do a whole social media strategy or content. So you can look there to find that. Also, I work with corporations as well. If there's something on a larger scale you may need for AI and cloud transformation, happy to do that and talk to you as well about that. Also, you can go over to nexorastrategy.co, and you can kind of see some of the work we've done and some of the digital automation that we're helping to transform here. So there's a lot of great things that are coming down the pipeline that I just want to continue to help folks on this journey. But on my speaker website, you'll see a lot more regarding some of the talks that I've had in the past, and just, my bio of how to get to know me, where I started from, what we talked about this evening, and up until now.
It is. And she's also in this month's Speakers Magazine. So you can read more about her there as well, because one of the things that she really talks about is really empowerment. That's really the core of her mission. It's just empowerment, whether it's training future engineers or consulting C-suites. She really is a person who make sure that it's not just possible, but actionable. So when she's going to tell you some things, it's not like just all theory. She's going to like, this is how we use it. This is how we're going to use it. This is the easy way to put it together, so that even though you're not a techie, because so many people are afraid of tech, especially if they're a baby boomer. They're like, oh my God, I'm so afraid of tech. But she makes it so that it is part of your lifestyle with simplicity, and using it so that it helps you, and not like you're fighting with it. Because that's what some people are like, oh, I had such a day today. The technology was getting me. It's like, well, what's going on? It's like, what it should be helping you and not have a headache about it. So are you iPhone or Android?
That's a tough one. No, but I'm an iPhone. I'm an iPhone user. I usually try to get trick people with that one. But yes, I am definitely an iPhone user. Now, something that's really funny, I used to have an iPhone and an Android tablet back when Android had their tablets out. But yeah,
Right.
I do all iPhone. Most of my coding I do on a Mac, and also,
Yes.
the iPad thing. But I do have a HP as well that I work with, because of course, being the computer nerd, you're gonna work with
All of them. Right.
yeah, you're going to work with all of them. But I do just find that iPhone works best for me. Now, I said, well, maybe
Because it's connected to your Mac too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Your computer. Yeah.
Now, I do find that I've taken really good pictures on Androids, though. That's not to say pictures aren't good on iPhone,
Those
but I know
Androids, that is the one bragging right that Androids will have. That
right.
is for sure. Because I am definitely an iPhone, but those kind of things, it is so those pictures are the thing. And just in terms of that, it's so much that people can create. I've found that people created entire movies with an iPhone.
Definitely.
That's just amazing to me that they can create an entire movie using multiple iPhones and that sort of thing. So yeah, it is one of those questions I want to ask you. I knew what you were, but I want to hear your reasoning behind that. Not that iPhone is a sponsor for this show or any of that kind of stuff, even though it may not be a bad idea, but I do want people to book you to speak, because you have a lot of stories, a lot of history in this. You're not new to this. You're true to this. Like you said, you've been a tech girl from way back. You're still in the STEM, helping empowering other young girls and young women in this tech space as well. Do you know any stats exactly before we end, like the percentage of women in tech? And you probably have it in some of your meetings and stuff like that.
Well, it has significantly changed. Typically what you see with C-suite level, that's still less than 17%. So we still have a long way to go. I know on the lower end, you still have about, at least 3 to 5% women and it's still continuing to climb. You would think even in 2025, and so there are some great stats out there with McKinsey and Company. Their technical reports that they do every year. They have an awesome Women in Tech stat report. I think that one was from about 2023, I want to say, that has some awesome insight in it on a granular level. But when we look at just as a whole, women still have a long way to go in this thing. And so I just really try to make sure that I'm doing my part to really try to make technology accessible, share my journey with others. And I said, even this long road that I've been on, I never gave up. I had that fearless perseverance inside of me, and I was never intimidated, even all the while in some spaces by myself. I was just never intimidated because I know I've always been passionate and loved technology since I was a kid. So I said, it's going to be in me. So, if you are one of those young ladies or young women or just a woman who has been in this for a while and you find yourself, mid to senior level developer, or even in C-suite of technology, just never give up on your dream wherever you want to go, because, technology, this industry, and the insights, and with everything that's happening with AI, we definitely need as many women in this as possible.
That is so true. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for all you do. You're closing the digital divide. You're making sure that everybody is coming up in this whole sphere here. You're breaking barriers and bringing others along. So thank you so much for joining us. And people can go to jenniferponderspeaks.com, book her to speak, read about her, connect with her, bring her in for workshops, keynotes, and that sort of thing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
This is awesome. Thank you, Dr. Perry. And thank you to all the listeners out there. I hope to see you all soon and just help everyone that I can. You all have a great evening.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.